So yeah, I got this Jubilee video pulled up, and it's called "Conservative Teens versus Liberal Parents," and they also just had like they're doing this because they had the opposite like a few months ago or something, where it was conservative parents versus liberal teens, and that one was weird because some of these kids were not liberals, but they got thrown on there. So yeah, that was cool for the most part. But yeah, I definitely want to see this because as far as like conservative teens go, they come in like a few forms, and all of which I kind of understand. Liberal parents, that's a mixed bag. I don't think any like liberal parent is like liberal for like the same reason. So I want to see this because generally conservative teens don't have the greatest talking points. Teens in general don't. And I'm guessing these parents also don't have like a big media following. And that's the thing with like the Jubilee videos was that the last one, it was like these kids were talking like circles around these parents, the conservative parents versus the liberal teens. And I don't think it was necessarily because they just had better arguments. I think it was just because these kids were like content creators and were just like well versed and very well spoken in what they said. So I'm curious to see if this is going to follow like that same trend of just the teens lapping the parents, or if like parents even have good talking points. So yeah, this will be fun.
Middle Ground is a social experiment that brings humans with opposing beliefs together. These discussions may contain viewpoints that are the result of misinformation. Remember to seek out experts and to be critical of your own biases while forming an opinion. Please see the humanity in each participant, and as always, we encourage empathy.
That is such a weird disclaimer, but yeah, it makes sense. Treat people as people. Simple. Sensitive topics. Ooh,
You're
I love sensitive
equating
topics.
some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
Why would you assume my life is
an
privileged?
unsupported.
But why would you see my life as privileged, though? I mean, I don't say that about you. Why would you see my life as privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you see my life as privileged?
Okay, so immediately the privilege thing comes up, and yeah, it's always funny that to me personally that conservatives will always talk about how we have this great privilege and how we need to be thankful for everything we've ever gotten through this country. But the minute you bring up like them having some kind of privilege because of their parents being wealthy or them being like white or white passing, they will lose their shit and like say, how dare you assume I have privilege? It's like, dude, you tell us all the time that we should be thankful for our privilege of being in America. And then the minute someone brings up any like different ish kind of privilege, they lose their fucking shit.
For one, you're a man.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. The government has no right to tell people what to do with their body.
True. Government has no right to tell you what to do with your actual like personhood whatsoever at all. So Samsung agrees. Yeah. Abortions, drugs, anything like that. That is something like I don't like the state regulating like that kind of stuff, you know, because it always never works. So, yeah, my stance. It's oversimplified, and that's the thing. Like these prompts are way too oversimplified for any like ultimate meaningful discussion. But this is just for entertainment. So I guess if this is just for entertainment, that's fine. But, yeah, it's not going to be anything like politically profound. Neither am I. So. It doesn't matter.
Vaccines.
Ooh. So, they all... Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I was about to say, did they just stay?
Sorry. Okay. I stood here.
Okay, he left. I was about to say, because I just saw the parents walking forward. Were the kids just going to sit back? No, two came up. Okay. But let's see what they say. Clearly, it's going to be about, like, abortion. But I got a feeling the liberal parents are talking about abortion, like that, but the conservative teens are going to talk about vaccines. They're going to come at this from two different angles, both of which I oppose. Abortions should be legal and vaccines should not be mandated. So, yeah.
Here because of vaccines, but I know a lot of you guys probably look at me like, oh, what about abortion? Now, the thing is, when it comes to abortion,
they fucking called it.
Two bodies are involved. It's the woman and it's the fetus. The fetus, has a heartbeat, it has DNA. It should have rights.
When?
Life begins at conception.
That's not when the heart's there.
Heartbeat starts at 4 weeks. It's not just a clump of cells, it is life. At 21 weeks, it can live outside of the womb. Abortion ends with murder and death.
Over 90.
Okay, and that's the thing with abortion. Again, I am someone who personally disagrees with abortion, but as far as government regulating it, no, I also disagree with that. But the whole like life begins at conception argument is like, yes, true, but it's never really an argument about life. It's an argument about personhood. Because, animals, right? We kill animals and we eat them all the fucking time. And we cut trees down. We mow grass. We do a lot of things that, kill life. And it's clearly not about life because, yeah, it's not. It's more about personhood. So when does this fetus become like, when does it get like its personhood, right? But it doesn't, and that's more where this where this line comes from. It doesn't, like, that framing doesn't change it much, but it does allow people who are pro-life to ask more serious questions about it. At least just to me, it made me ask more questions about it.
90% of abortions happen within the first 10 weeks.
I think that's not acceptable.
But they still have the potential of having life, though. The mortality rate of a fetus getting aborted is 100%. It's going to die when it's aborted.
And you're very lucky you'll never have to experience what it's like to have to make that choice.
But what if I become a father and the woman who I got pregnant wants to have an abortion? It's going to affect me.
You would have a discussion with your partner then and decide what you're going to do and be glad that you have a choice to even discuss with that partner.
Unfortunately, human nature, if you take away the option or the right to do that, then they'll find it another way.
And it will be unsafe.
Yes,
would you support the mom? Would you support the mom in that scenario?
If the mom had an abortion or the mom
No, if she gave birth.
Oh, of course. I would support her. I'd say what you do is a good thing. And
No. Support her financially for the rest of her life or for the rest of the baby's life.
Are you talking about, like, what do you mean me support her, like, as a...
Aha, see, got him. He wasn't even thinking about that. And that's the case. A lot of, like, young, like, people who were just raised to be pro-life don't generally think about the after of, like, giving birth. So whenever you ask them that question, whenever I ask conservative kids these questions, they generally like have no idea how to answer that, because it's like it fucks with them in a little bit. Like you hear like the gears grinding against each other. It's not good because they haven't prepared for that question. They were just so amped up on like heartbeat at 4 weeks, brain cell at like 8 weeks. They have those numbers lined up, but they have no like options for like helping the kids. Like they have no arguments for that. For the younger ones, a little older and more set in, they'll get arguments.
Citizen or
if somebody has a baby,
we do have child support, and it comes from taxpayer money.
Okay, so all right, so the parents made the choice and they are responsible for the result of that choice. They should support that result. Yes. Okay. So an abortion would be part of that choice, right? Like, just based off your username, I'm gonna guess you're not pro-abortion, but you never know.
Foster care, there's adoption, there's mothers waiting.
those systems are very broken, and people all the time are trying to stop funding for programs like that.
Now,
Absolutely. See, the Republican Party, as pro-life as it is, it so much. It cares so little about life because it always tries to cut any form of government, like help for like changing the foster care system or like any like adoption care system, anything like that. or like even childcare, just welfare. So they clearly just don't care about pro-life. Like the Catholic Church, as shitty as they are in a lot of stuff, at least when they say they're anti-abortion, they're at least going to prop up orphanages. Not good ones, but at least they're doing the bare fucking minimum, So, yeah.
Ask you guys, do you support vaccine mandates?
Yes.
So I mean, you stepped forward and said the government shouldn't tell you what to do with your body, though. Why would you support?
My issue is that I believe that the government should not be able to tell me what to do with my body, but I have to accept the consequences for the choices that I make with my body. The vaccines, for instance, I absolutely felt that everyone should get vaccinated. Why? Because this was a pandemic. But if you don't want to, I don't think the government should have to tell you that you have to.
Okay,
but
so at least she's consistent.
You then have to suffer the consequences of your choices, which means you cannot patronize certain places. You can't put other people at risk.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Like a pandemic is clearly different than abortion and all of that. About like the whole thing of like, it's just a lot easier to spread a disease, and it's going to spread a lot further and all that. And abortion is a more in-depth process because it's a lot harder to get pregnant, for those of you who don't know. But it's also, I still disagree with a vaccine mandate, because I just don't like the idea of like forced vaccines. Now, to participate in like public spaces, sure, because we already have to give a bunch of vaccines with all of that. Like if you want to, like attending public school, you have to get like your inoculation shots, right? Just make the COVID vaccine part of those inoculations. Simple. It's like the military. If you join the military, you're going to get literally every vaccine that's ever happened. That's just a thing. And whenever people talk about like mandates, like they'll bring up like the government's forcing mandates, it's generally for stuff that's within government positions. It's never just like, oh, you want to go to the grocery store? Well, you better get your shot. Yeah, that's not a thing. In fact, they're just kind of more mad about the awareness campaign that's being spread, The government's not going to force you to get these shots unless you want to participate in government-funded items, like school or the military. Then they're going to force it to you. Even then, not really for school. So, I mean, that's why there's always private options, and that's why people tend to like the private options, So.
No, you're saying they're doing it to protect us, but the coronavirus has, I think, a survivor rate almost 98%.
The survivor rate, that's such a stupid argument, because the survival rate doesn't equate to recovery rate, because there's still gonna be like long-term damage from it. Like my dad who got it, he's a healthy man, he's a man who's physically active. He's a little old, but he's been physically active all of his life, and he got the virus, and that literally put him on a CPAP machine. He's had struggle breathing ever since. So, yeah, he survived it, so he's part of that 99.7%, but he didn't recover from it fully, which is a different percent, And call me crazy, I don't think like having to live with a CPAP machine after like getting just normal like airborne virus, I don't consider that like a great step, personally.
99%, and we're mandating these vaccines. Why are we not mandating the flu?
What's frightening to me is that you're equating some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
why would you assume my life is privileged?
Unsupported.
But why would you assume my life is privileged, though? You don't know my life. I don't say that about you. Why would you assume my life is privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you assume my life is privileged?
I mean, well, if we want to get actually like in depth of like why we can assume your life is privileged, you're well dressed on a large YouTube platform to talk about politics. Yeah, those are all good indicators of like a pretty privileged life,
For one, you're a man.
Most people commit suicide are men. Most people who work in dangerous workplaces are men. Most people who fight in war are men.
Okay, now I hate these arguments because, yes, all of these are true, but why are they true? You know? Why are most military deaths men? Huh. Could be for the fact that we didn't even let women go into combat roles until like just a couple years ago. Probably that. And also like the men working more dangerous jobs. Yeah, women aren't generally hired on for a lot of these jobs. You know, like firefighters. We always talk about like firefighters being this super heroic job, that men go into and that women can't. It's mainly because most people don't hire women because they're like, oh, she's like 5'2" and super small. But then they'll see like a 5'2" guy who's also super small, but they're like, I know his pappy. At least around here, southern wise, rural wise. But yeah. Or technically, like the most dangerous job of like who just gets killed the most are truck drivers. But never bring up the men's rights movement never brings that up because there's nothing heroic about truck driving compared to firefighting. Their words, not mine. But yeah, that's another one. Like a lot of women don't get hired on to these trucking companies, which is why they don't make up large statistics about like trucking accidents. However, it has been a recent surge, and by recent I mean like within the past couple years, on how women are now bursting more into like the freelance and trucking sector. Not in most states, but in a good bit of the states. So yeah, there is that. So yeah, like I said, the reason why a lot of these statistics exist as far as working and deaths on the job go is because women weren't allowed into a lot of these fields and still aren't allowed into a lot of these fields. So the thing with like the MRA talking points with that is just like you can't complain about a problem that you don't want to fix. They'll talk about like, oh, men are all these casualties. All right, you're gonna let women into these jobs? Well, no. It's like, well, shit. Then these statistics are gonna remain the same. I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do on that one. Now, the men's suicide rate is also a lot more complicated because technically women attempt suicide more, just men are more successful with it because women go for less violent means. Women tend to go for like just less, I'm not going to get graphic, but just less violent means than men. Men tend to like jump off of high things. We'll say that, and women tend to try to go to sleep forever. Yeah, one of them you can go to the hospital and fix. The other one, no, you can't. So if it was actual let's say like suicide was like a 100% success rate, theoretically, women would far more be the victim of that. But it's just methods. And even then, it's also a very man thing to ignore mental health. As a man, myself, it's hard. It is hard to be a man. It's hard to come to terms with your emotions and reach out. There is that pride. We all have it as any man and people in general, but as a man speaking to other men's, hey, my guys, how are y'all doing? We have hard times addressing our mental health. And guess what? That's a form of toxic masculinity. Now, I know that word is scary for anyone who just thinks toxic masculinity is calling masculinity toxic. No, masculinity is not toxic at all. However, there are toxic elements to it, as in your masculinity is either so fragile or so egotistical that it just becomes unhealthy to you and those around you. And this is an example of it becoming unhealthy to you, yourself. So yeah, open up, go to counseling, do all that. Try to get out of that headspace of oh, I'm a man, just buck up and nut up, That's not going to help you. it may help some people, you know, don't get me wrong, that thought process mentality has helped people. It's helped people I know, and I've seen it help people, you know, online and in real life, but that doesn't work for everyone. So go to a therapist, get help, try to talk about your emotions, and, you know, ask for help. Seriously.
And who set that system up?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the disagreeers to step forward.
Well, I think I give a unique perspective on this because I actually
boy.
do agree with the vaccine mandate. I think COVID was just a huge disaster.
Okay, that's odd. But yes, masculinity is not toxic, but there are toxic elements to it, like not asking for help whenever you need it. That is bad, you know? So, yeah, exactly. You're getting it. Yeah, I mean, all of those are toxic, smoking and alcohol, because, hey, I'm straight edge. But, that's beta shit? Absolutely. Absolutely. Roids, based to shit. Drinking, smoking, roids, based. Yeah, y'all get it. Y'all understand. No. Do I need help? Probably. But I'm a man. I'm not going to ask for it.
I actually do agree with the vaccine mandate. I think COVID was just a huge disaster, and I think it could have ended a lot sooner if things were more organized.
Definitely. As far as whether the government should intervene on people's bodies, I think there are a lot of instances where the government should. One, to protect the society in general, especially in cases such as a pandemic where the disease could literally wipe out cities. In other instances as well, such as drug use, I think the government should intervene, because when you have a society that's addicted to opioids or crack, it spreads like wildfire, and I've seen it firsthand. It's very difficult to control without the help of government. Now, on the topic of abortion, that one's, very complex. And in general, I always want to favor a woman's right to choose. But I think there's also a very fundamental question that both of you brought up, is at what point is a fetus a human or a person? Let's say a child is 8 months in the womb, and at that point, the baby has a heart, the baby has a brain, has legs, has arms. Do you think it's okay for that to be terminated, in your
Nobody
opinion?
is doing.
Okay, so that last guy brought in a lot of fucking points, and oh my goodness, he's got some good ones. But, all right. The guy who just said government, okay, he's okay with the vaccines. So that one was a little weird. I was not expecting that. But last guy over here, where he was just like, I can tell he's from a more generally Hispanic higher crime raising, just because of how he talked about government not having to intervene with abortion unless it's this specific circumstance, and the vaccines and all that. But he was still like, the government should intervene with drugs and drug abuse and usage. That one, yeah, I can tell where he's coming from on that, because I also come from a community where drugs have rampaged all this shit. Mainly meth. It is meth. I live in the South. Meth. That's our drug of choice. But also drinking. But that's debatable on whether that's a drug. But yeah, I'm not one for government stepping in on that, because it always just turns into making something illegal. And that doesn't help. It makes it a crime and illegal. That never ever helps anything, you know? It didn't help with prohibition. Hasn't helped with the drug war. You know, what has been proven to help is rehabilitation. And yeah, I think the government should offer rehabilitation. If that's the government stepping in, then I'm for that, you know? But generally that's not seen as the government stepping in. That's just not. Usually the government stepping in is just seen as bans and the likes. But yeah, I'm for like rehabilitation and not arrests. Arrest is not good. Arrest makes the problem worse, for the most part.
And nobody is having abortions with viable fetuses unless it is a medical emergency that will kill the baby and the mother.
And she is right on that because it's illegal. It did. Yeah. Also, if they've already carried, like, just think about it. If someone's already carried the baby all the way to 9 months, they've already been pregnant. They're going to have that fucking baby. You know, they're not going to go all the way to the process and just quit at the end, you know? Yeah. Cool. An ad. How's everyone doing? Everyone cool? Everyone enjoying it? Everyone enjoying Jubilee? You chatters seem to be having a lot of fun, and that makes me happy. Fuck. I didn't unmute it.
My name is Ben. I'm a business consultant for a telecom company, and I'm a liberal dad. When it comes to the abortion issue,
No, we're expressing our toxic masculinity by calling our mom hoes. Hell yeah, that's how you do it, right? That's good, healthy political discussion. God damn, imagine though. Imagine you're like 20 years in the future. It's been like 5 other presidents since then because no one's got a second term. And then you just go and see like 2 people come up on stage from like 2 like brand new political parties that have been taken by storm, and the other one just like looks at this other man after he's given like a big long explanation of like his new tax policy, and this other man just looks at him and just goes, "Your mom's a hoe." God damn, that would be a fucking reality for sure. I'd be cool with that, honestly. Like Trump sucks, but like his like ability to just be like, shut the fuck up, and like no give a shit, I have to admit, kind of admirable, and probably why I liked him when I was 14 years old, you know?
I'm not exactly sure where I stand. I am not pro-choice or pro-life.
My name is Dawn.
It's diminishing though. Yeah, the more people do it, the less cool it becomes. But the first guy to fucking do it, like the first man to go on a presidential stage and just look at his opponent and like, shut the fuck up, I would lose my goddamn shit.
a regional sales manager for a dialysis company as well as a therapist, and I'm
Elon for president? No, because he doesn't have a cool energy about him. He's got a weird Reddit nerd energy. He's got like my classmates' energies. He's got my energy. I don't fucking want that as a president. He just says cringy jokes. It's not there's no swagger to what he says.
I'm a liberal parent. As far as my views on abortion, to be honest, it just makes me very sad. I can't believe that we are moving backwards by taking people's rights away to choose.
Why don't you want autists for No, I'm fine with autistic people running for presidents. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've had autistic presidents up to this point. I just don't like Elon because he's like a band kid, you know? No, Musk is absolutely autistic. You know, I'm pretty sure most people, you know, more people than we realize are autistic. I'm probably autistic, to be fair. But it's just, he's not funny. He thinks he is, but he's not. He's got that band kid, fedora, neon ensemble energy of like, oh, okay, how many of y'all went to public school, right? Like, how many found like went to public school and like rode in like a bus? Y'all know like that one kid who's just like, it must be true, but like, I'm pretty sure it's a universal experience. There's always that one kid who just blasts like the Soviet Union national anthem and like does the Heil Hitler sign and is like just looks around waiting for people to bust out laughing. He's that kid. It's just like, what you did was not funny, you know? Elon Musk, like, give it, if he didn't have a good PR department, I'm pretty sure right now he'd be tweeting out Uganding Knuckles memes because he would think they're funny, you know? Or the fucking moth lamp memes, you know, old ass shit that literally isn't relevant. It's not funny. It's like that meme show we just watched not too long ago, where like that Benny Thomas show. Yeah, but the point, it's to piss people off, but the pissing people off is what's supposed to be funny. They equate edgy with funny, which is not true. Edgy can be funny, but just because you're edgy doesn't mean you're funny. How old am I? I am 21. newly 21. Well, not even newly anymore, like a few months now at this point. Shit. Except to the person doing it, exactly. And he's having a great time posting what he's posting, which, by all means, if you think what you're doing is funny and you're getting a kick out of it, go ahead, right? Do a thing. Yes, I'm a kid. That's why I'm so in tune with meme culture. And I'm an engineer. That's why I'm so in tune with not liking Elon. But yeah, it's just like, it's that very basic, like, ninth grade humor. And I just don't like it because it's something that most people grow out of, but then the people who don't just hold on to it so fucking vehemently. And it's just, I don't know if other people feel it like the way I do, but like how I've always described it is when like I'm into like rock music and all that, and I'm very into music in general, but like it's whenever you're like getting into like punk music and you hear Green Day and you're like, that's cool, but then years down the line you end up getting into even more like more underground and more artful shit. But then you still see like 40-year-olds who are still like, Green Day's the best fucking band, and they only listen to Green Day and The Offspring, like literally nothing else, just Green Day and The Offspring. You're just like, oh, I'm glad you're having fun, but dude, like, can you pick something else, please? See, Holocaust analysis is a weird thing because people just honestly do believe that. People just honestly believe that was fake. And they cause a lot of harm. It's just, like, I'm fine with edgy humor. I make, like, a lot of edgy jokes. One, because I am Hispanic, and holy shit, do we like to piss ourselves off. So, yeah. Mexican stereotyping Guatemalans, age-old trade. And we're so good at it. If you're harmed by my idiotic opinion, that's your problem. Well, the Holocaust now is not even an opinion. That's just people being legitimately fucking stupid. But then those people going around to Jewish people and like, you're fucking faking it. You fucking faker. Yeah, it's just these people are fucking stupid and end up just going around and harassing other people and then supporting causes that aren't great.
Happening to their body.
Not being an LGBTQ plus ally makes someone a bad person.
Okay. This one is, you're going to have to define ally. I don't think, like, this one's complicated. I think, like, not marching in the streets is one thing. That's fine. But, like, if you're not marching in the streets or going out and, doing all, like, the ally shit, yeah, you're probably a good person. You're just not, like, marching and doing all this stuff. If I think you're just, like, indifferent, I still think you're a good person, if not just a little careless. But, hey, we all are for certain issues, right? So I don't think you're a bad person for that either. I don't think you're not a bad person unless you are just violently homophobic or voting for causes that actively hurt people, Like, if you're just ignorant, that's fine. Like, you don't know exactly what's going on, you don't know that much about the lifestyle, and you have, like, that whole mentality of, like, just as long as I don't see it, It's not great. It's not a great mentality, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but if that's it, for like, compared to like what I've seen in my life and what I've seen in politics and politicians, that's better, I guess. I don't know. It's like, it's defining allyship. That's this, but they're not going to go into it because it's Jubilee.
It's strong.
They need one sentence.
Right, it's a general way to put it. I would question someone's empathy.
That's it.
And their awareness of the other people around them, because I guarantee you know someone that's
absolutely,
LGBTQ.
and their environment.
Right. Discussing the validity of the existence of other human beings isn't a political issue. That's like,
it's there.
There's something wrong with you
Yes.
if you like, no, trans people don't exist. Obviously they do. I would like to think that it's a safer world.
Yes.
to be LGBTQ, but that
Yes.
would be naive.
Of course.
People are getting murdered for being trans.
Very
you
true.
know, and,
Yes.
and gay. It's scary. I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys.
Oh.
One of them is trans. I worry that, I mean, for however progressive a new generation seems, that, you know, I have to think about, will there be violence?
To me, ally is someone who openly supports the community. If you're not okay with it when it's visible, you're contributing to a mindset that forces people to hide themselves. True. Like I said, it depends on, like, it depends on their reasoning behind it. Like, someone who's, like, not supporting the community, is it just because they just don't take the time to? Sure, they're a good person. Is it because they don't want to? Because they just disagree with it? I mean, that's morally gray, but they're not necessarily bad, you know? It's such a complicated thing, just based off the definition of ally and however you define it, which is different for everyone. People do get murdered for it. Just look up trans murder rates. It is higher than almost any other murder rate for any other demographic of people.
Violence done, which, I mean, every parent worries about violence. That's part of the gig of being a parent.
Yes.
And I've got a new layer. My child is in a wonderfully privileged situation where they have a lot of support.
Okay.
In the globe, yes. And even within America. It's probably lower in America than most of the parts of the globe, considering how great the rest of the world treats LGBT people. But it's still significantly higher than the average person in America.
That helps.
But as they get older, their circle gets wider. And my sphere of influence gets less effective as they get older, you know? Hi, I'm Cindy. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I am a liberal parent. One of my children came out as trans 2 years ago. Mine and my husband's response was, "That's great. Would you like to go by these pronouns? And would you like to pick out a name? Let's make sure that we talk to a gender specialist so we know what options there are, and we'll just take this one step at a time. We'll move forward with the best information possible."
All right, we got ads coming up. But imagine you come out as trans to your parents, they're like, all right, well, we're going to give you a new name. You don't even get to choose. That would be fucking hilarious, you know? But whole ethnic groups got wiped out in some parts of the world, for example. Well, yeah, but that's through history. I'm talking about in modern times. Like currently, the current murder rates. Cool. I love Paramount Plus streaming ads. I love it. My favorite. Even now, yes. But like within the US, trans murder rates are higher than the average person. Now within the world, probably not compared to like some of the genocides going around. But still higher than the average person. Average. Keyword in my sentence is being average.
These pronouns, and would you like to pick out a name? Let's make sure that we talk to a gender specialist so we know what options there are, and we'll just take this one step at a time. We'll move forward with the best information possible.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I can provide a unique perspective on this because I'm actually bisexual. So I think not being an ally.
Why is this man? He said bisexual. I'm looking at him like, yeah. Just, it's the gaydar. It's going off. It's the chain. It's always the fucking chain, dude.
As long as you're not harming people, you're not harassing people, you're not posting on social media that these people suck, then I don't think you're a bad person for that.
I kind of agree with that too, because as long as they're not actively doing harm, you know. Now, just being complacent is also not great, but at the same time, they're not actively going out of their way to do anything. They're just stuck, like not doing anything. I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't think that's a bad person there. So I'll go with his mindset. I agree with that.
As a Christian, I don't think that being LGBTQ aligns with God's view of the family. It doesn't mean.
Shut the fuck up. I hate this Christian argument because it's one that pisses me off in general because in the Bible, every like homophobic thing they can find in the Bible, which it always comes down to one verse, one mistranslated verse. That's what pisses me off. The verse was mistranslated and people have just stuck with it forever. And it's like the history and the context behind it is so simple to see. And it's because, hey, I actually read the Bible and studied it for like all my life throughout catechism. You know? And I've had like homophobic like teachers who were like, we went through the Bible and we found like original translations and all of that and like the cultural context. And they were like, although the Bible doesn't specifically say homophobia is a sin, I still don't. And they would like admit it. It's like, I still find it not whatever, you know, I still find it like gross and sinful, which, yeah, at least now they're being honest that they just don't like it, you know, they're at least not using the Bible, which, although I still find problematic, is leagues better than just using, you know, just fucking lying about the Bible. Are you Protestant? No, I am Catholic. I don't really follow the church, but I go by Catholic beliefs. You know, with purgatory and the rings and saints and all of that. But queer recognizes queer and he's looking real familiar right now. Yeah. But no, it's like that one verse that people constantly bring up and it's mistranslated and out of context. It pisses me off so to no end. It's just people using the Bible to justify their hatred of someone, you know? It's just
that I will disrespect them in any way. I just think that it's a sin.
As far as
Catholics usually follow the translation of the church and Pope. Yeah, and that's where a lot of the the homophobia comes from. However, I go a lot more with the Protestant ethic of you're supposed to have a one-on-one relation with God. Keep in mind, I am in America, and I come from a very Protestant area, like probably the most Protestant area of the world. So even Catholicism for me is pretty Protestant compared to like what it is in Europe. So, I do like the one-on-one aspect of studying and God and all of that, but I do like the Catholic Church of allowing you to have resources and doing all of that. Protestants, they just kind of give you the King James Bible and just like, good luck, have fun. At least with Catholic, you can go and like sit down with like people who are, you know, like theologians and like have a good discussion. At least in my experience, a priest is a lot more applicable to asking questions than a preacher. A preacher is just a lot of times just there with other things to do. A priest has literally nothing else to do. His job is like looking at this book and be like, aha. A preacher's got other shit to do. He's got family and a job, another job, all this kinds of stuff, you know?
As your faith is concerned, what would happen if your child came out to you that they were gay, bisexual, trans?
I think that if the sin is not practiced upon, it's not a problem. It can be dealt with, especially with transitioning. It usually comes from mental problems like depression, anxiety, and all those things.
Okay. Yeah, yes, trans people tend to be depressed, but they're not trans because they're depressed. They're depressed because they're trans and people treat them like shit. You know? It's like that study that was done like a few years ago where they studied trans kids who were like had supportive parents and unsupportive parents, and the trans kids who had supportive parents actually had less depression and anxiety compared to cisgendered kids. So, yeah, that whole like, oh, you're just trans because you're depressed. It's like, no, I'm depressed because I'm trans and you treat me like shit.
Do you think they can be kind of taught to not be gay?
No, I think
Pray the gay away.
You support conversion therapy?
No, I don't think that we can convert anyone into doing anything. I would not ostracize my child, but I would not support it. Just like I don't support any sin.
So I
Okay, but like you said, as long as the sin is not acted upon. What the fuck does that mean? Like they just don't... They just don't ever get a gay crush. Like, that's the thing. Like, they always say it's like, love the sinner, not the sin. It's like, what? What's, what? It's like, I don't think it's a sin unless you act on it. In fact, I have gay thoughts all the time. It's like, dude, like, just not have gay sex? I guess if someone wants to be a celibate, I guess that's probably the easiest route to not acting on the gay sin. Like, what about falling in love, having a crush, all of that? Fulfillment through a relationship. You know, as humans, we all like a little bit of fulfillment through relationships. Like, what? So...
I think that if you want to be transgender, you could be transgender. We live in a free nation. But if you're asking for my opinion, I believe that men and women are completely different. We have different chromosomes, different bone structure. If you're a transgender woman, I still view you.
That has nothing to do with trans people's, validation. Like, we have different chromosomes, okay? Not a single soul was arguing about that.
As a man, you could express yourself as a woman. That's fine.
There you go.
That society should automatically, say that, okay, you're a woman. Let's say, for instance,
he got to the end point. He ran the race and then just went 2 steps back. Why? Why should society not accept you in your representation? We accept you in yours. Why not theirs? I could just start calling this man a woman. I could give him neo pronouns right now. He would lose his fucking shit. If all of let's say 80% of the US started doing it, he would go fucking ape mode, He would just start eating bananas with the peels on and what the fuck do monkeys do besides masturbate all day? Do they even do anything? Sign language. Monkeys do sign. That's gorillas. He would just eat bananas and do sign language because he would lose his fucking shit and go insane of people just misgendering him all the time.
And since there's a 18-year-old biological man, but says that they are a woman now, they still have male genitalia. They could walk into a woman's locker room and show off their male genitalia. I don't agree.
They could go into a woman's locker room and show off their male genitalia. Hey, any women in chat? Do y'all just kind of like stand around like a locker room and just go like, look at my vagina. Yeah, that's a real good one right there. I fucking doubt it. I'm a man. I go into male locker rooms. I don't ever see guys showing off their dicks. We're all in there trying to show the least amount of skin as possible because no one wants to be naked in front of each other. Some people do, but generally no one wants to do that. It's awkward. It's weird. Everyone's like, they'll wrap the towel around themselves, take off their shorts and immediately pull some back on, and then it's like, all right, now we go out. Yeah. Y'all assume a lot of weird shit, A cis man could also do that, Yes, exactly. People don't stop, criminals don't stop because of the law. They never have. Right? It's like, that's like the thing with gun restrictions, right? You get Republicans always going off of like, these restrictions won't stop anyone. Oh, so a bathroom sign's gonna stop, a rapist? No. It was like that kid at that school in like Virginia. They were saying like, see, this boy raped this girl in a women's bathroom. He's trans. Kid was not trans whatsoever, and it was statutory rape. But holy shit, man in a woman's bathroom, they jumped on that shit to prove like, hey, this is why we don't let trans people in bathrooms. And the school didn't even have gender neutral bathrooms at that time. They got it on later on, and people were like, see, proof. No. Absolutely not.
Agree with that. I don't think that's okay.
That's
Why though? Why don't you agree with people addressing someone how they want to be addressed? Right? Here's like my favorite thing. Here is my absolute favorite thing. I grew up in the South. I was raised to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, to literally everyone in any position of dominance over me. Like from doctors, teachers, all of that, to literal 14-year-olds at a McDonald's calendar. If any of that, you know, I'm going to say like, yes sir, yes ma'am, all of that. But then you get like these motherfuckers who are just like, yeah, I was raised to be respectful. I say yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. But all these transes, they make it confusing. I will never address you as yes ma'am. You are a man. Clearly, you were not raised to be respectful. You're just a fucking dick, right? Who just has that fucking click of like, okay, this is just a habit. For you, it's not respect. For you, it's a habit. And that's the thing. People just don't want to get broken out of these habits because they have to put like a little bit of thought about that one kid who came out like 6 months ago. They have to put like a little bit of thought, and they're like, no, fuck you. I'm going to just continue with what I've always been doing. Yeah, no, these people suck. They're just annoying because they're just trying to be disrespectful, you know?
It's not happening.
It is happening, though.
Is it really happening?
That is literally
transphobia.
transphobia.
It's
rare, though, but...
And not even a trans. It could just be a creepy guy, like, pretending to be...
Yes, creepy guys are... I'm in much more danger in a women's restroom from a cisgender, straight, creepy guy than I am a trans person.
That gives them the excuse, you know, that's what I'm trying to say.
So do you support gender-neutral bathrooms? Like women and men can go into the same bathroom? Do you
Yes. They're everywhere. They're going to literally any fucking Walmart. There's a gender-neutral bathroom. It's, you know, there's a family bathroom, right? There's like the male, female, family. And ultimately, like, what's the difference between male and female bathrooms other than urinals? Like, you know, we all have gender-neutral bathrooms in our house, you know? Every bathroom is gender-neutral if you gotta go bad enough.
That could increase the chances of rape or assault.
They already exist.
Yeah, like, here's the thing, like, they act like a women's bathroom sign is like an immediately, like, it's a penis scanner, and you can't walk in if you have a penis, and that stops all rapes. No, it's... half like majority of like public bathrooms in this country don't even have a doorknob. You literally just push the door in and walk in. Literally, a trans woman going into a women's bathroom is not going to increase the likelihood of rape. It hasn't. It hasn't at all. You get like a little bit of spike from like rapists who like, maybe I can use this, but hey, guess what? A trans rapist is still a rapist, so they get fucking caught and they don't do that shit again. So they're not even trans. They're just fucking gross. It's like that whole, like, oh, we can't let trans people have rights because a creepy guy is going to be creepy. Okay. Creepy guys are always going to be creepy.
Interesting that men are only concerned about this rape in the bathroom when we're having a conversation about trans folk.
But gender-neutral bathrooms just stem from this idea, though.
No, this idea.
What? No, gender-neutral bathrooms have always just been a thing. You ever... Okay, people being uncomfortable like with men in the bathroom has always been a thing, you know? It always has been. From several sides of history. There's a reason why gender-neutral bathrooms are called like family bathrooms. It's because some women are just like, don't bring your 3-year-old son in here. There's women. Bro, what am I gonna do with this fucking kid then? He got fucking go. Am I supposed to walk in the men's bathroom? This motherfucker don't know how to fucking wipe. I gotta do this shit for him. What the hell do you want me to do? It's just people who just... They just don't know what to fucking do, you know? At all.
Idea that rape is going to suddenly go on the rise because of gender-neutral bathrooms stems from transphobia.
Absolutely. Rape has not gone... Gender-neutral bathrooms have been around for years for a bunch of different things. And rape has not gone up at all. Just hasn't. Even in the age where rape is getting reported more? Nope. No, not at all.
I'm Eden, I'm 16 years old, and I'm on the conservative teen side. I think that transitioning does more harm than good, and I think that we are born in the body that we're given, and we should stay that way. God has created us in His image, and I don't think we should change the way we are.
Hold up. God damn, I
Created
can't
us
see.
in His image, and
She's got earrings. She's got fucking earrings. She changed her image. She changed her image. I know she's got a haircut. She got her haircut at some point. Clearly, we all change our image, right? Like, if we take like this argument to the logical conclusion, which the Bible already does, we couldn't change anything about ourselves. We could not groom ourselves. We could barely wash ourselves, which is what a lot of Christianity thought back in the day for a long time. You know, Christianity, you're not supposed to cut your hair or shave your beard. So you do that, like, you know, you're changing the way God made you. You've gone out in the sun, you've gotten tan, you put makeup on. You're changing the way God made you. Why the fuck would that be any different for a trans person cutting their hair and putting makeup on, right? Like, yeah. No, they just use that argument, but then they don't think about how it applies to themselves, which is kind of like a core tenet of Christianity. You're supposed to apply everything to yourselves and then to others first. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. That argument means we all got sin. Shut the fuck up.
I don't think we should change the way we are.
Owning a gun is a basic human right.
Yes. You're not going to catch me arguing with that.
I absolutely hate hearing about school shootings on the news and just shootings in general. It's horrible. You know, this isn't like, you know.
I was going to say a bisexual man. His name's Chase with a pink shirt and a chain. Homie. Homie.
You know, Spider-Man's not going to save people. People have the right to protect themselves.
A lot of mass shooters target gun-free zones because they know there's not going to be a person who's going to fight against them or shoot them back. There's a lot of mass shootings at schools, and that's because schools have gun-free zones. I view...
Not necessarily. School shootings happen mainly because those are where those kids have spent most of their lives. You know, when adults tend to go on mass shootings, it tends to be their workplace, you know? It's not even because it's gun-free zones. There have been shootings in, like, gun zones, right? Like that Texas church shooting, that was, you know, the church was notorious for having guns. You know, every member had a gun. There was a shooting there, and hey, you know, shooter got away for a little bit and then was shot dead a little bit after. So...
owning a gun as a right to defend myself. You look at countries that have banned guns in the past, the USSR, Nazi Germany, you look at China under Mao Zedong, they stripped their citizens of arms so they could oppress them. And I think the reason why our founding fathers enshrined the Second Amendment is because they wanted us to protect ourselves against tyrannical government and to protect ourselves against danger around us too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Governments tend to get rid of guns first. I mean, you're not going to catch any argument from me. Even, but people who... The funny thing about that argument is that communists and anarchists are like very pro-gun, but everyone is always saying the left wants to take away your guns when Karl Marx literally wrote, the proletariat will be armed.
I think that...
Also, yes, Hitler did also give his citizens guns rights. It's just who was considered citizens, you know?
From a woman's perspective, if as a woman you get into a dangerous situation, for example with a man, having a gun and knowing how to use a gun is the only way that will protect me. Having my tiny little pepper spray won't help me.
The left does not want to take away your guns. No, the left is very pro-gun. They just want a different... The left doesn't believe in Marx? I'm going to let you sit with that one, bud.
Forever.
I'm going to let you sit with that.
If you take away guns, the bad guys will always get their guns, one way or another.
I live in Los Angeles, and LA has strict gun control laws.
Yes, leftists. The left. If you think the left is like liberals, you're solely mistaken. Liberals have always been am I dumb? No, liberals are the center, dude. That's like their thing. They're like the mediation between conservatives and leftists. That's like always been the thing. Are you saying Joe Biden believes in Marx? No, he's a liberal. He's not on the left. Leftists believe in Marx. What? That's... What?
This is my perspective of it. I think LA has become a more dangerous city.
So this is a minor semantic difference? I mean, I guess so. Like, you think left equals center for no... No, I don't. I think left equals left and center equals center. The left is made up of leftists. The center is made up of liberals, and the right is made up of conservatives. So when I talk about the left, I mean leftists. When I talk about the center, I talk about liberals. And when I talk about conservatives, I talk about the right, you know? And how's the left not being communist not make? Then how does the left not being communist not make sense? Because not everyone on the left is a communist. Communism is like the very furthest end to the left. If we're just talking about like a one axis like kind of thing. There are anarchists, there are syndicalists, there's a lot of range of thoughts within the left. Not all of it's communist. Just like not everyone on the right is a libertarian capitalist, you know? Some people are like more Hoppian, I guess. You know, there's just differences within economic schools of thought.
And I feel very unsafe walking down the street, just not armed. Crime is on the rise in America, and I think one of the ways to stop crime is by owning a gun.
I definitely think that there should be this control in place to who buys guns. You couldn't just be able to go to a store and buy a gun. There should be regulations into who buys guns. And
the way I categorize that is stupid. How? That's like the most basic way of categorizing stuff. If you're a leftist, you're on the left. If you're a conservative, you're on the right. Left does not... Leftist does not necessarily equal commie. Like, what do you think about, like, syndicalists? You know, people who believe in strong, you know, in a strong welfare state and union reforms and union control of the workplace and socialism in general. They're not communists. Democrats are socially far left, fiscally right wing. I wouldn't say socially far left, but yeah, you're getting it. Like they like there's obviously several axes to politics, but yeah. Not Twitch blocking word commie on my end for hostile comment. So sad. That's not even a word I have blocked on my list, because I don't even have any words blocked on my list that aren't slurs. Even then, some slurs are still in there because I am not personally offended by people calling me a wetback. I'm legal.
who shoots a gun.
All right. Another ad incoming. Well, it's the same as... kind of, yeah. Chat filter off. Oh boy, Matt Walsh. Why is this ad 5 minutes? Hell yeah, I'm skipping it. Dude, people who have the audacity to put an ad that is like over 15 seconds. Y'all insane. I don't like y'all. Y'all ruin my eating experiences half the time.
I actually debated whether or not I was going to sit down because I do believe people have the right to bear arms. I do. My issue is what kind of arms they're bearing. I believe people should get to go hunt, but do you need a semi-automatic rifle to do that?
I mean, you don't need it, but in some situations it makes it easier. Like, people always rip on that guy in Louisiana. But you're talking about like hog hunting. It makes it substantially easier. People are always saying, "Yeah, if you're a real hunter, you don't need a semi-automatic." I will let Mr. Man with a bolt-action 5-round chamber rifle go against a hog herd of 30,000 tearing up his crops. I will let him do that. If he's got that much confidence in his skills, go ahead. You know, I'm pretty good with a gun. You know, not to brag or anything, but I was pre-Olympics with a shotgun. But yeah, no, I recognize the need for like better armaments, especially if you're like if you have crops and all of that, and you live in a hog infested state, or like rodents in general. For like a deer, probably not. You know what? You're kind of an asshole if you shoot a deer with an AR. Everyone will agree with that. But for like hogs, when you're just trying to protect your crop yields and all of that, yeah. But no. You know, I recognize the need for some of these, because at the end of the day, guns are tools. It's just that they're tools of death. You know, that guns are made to kill things. You know, but again, sometimes you need that. No one cares if you shoot a deer with a gun. It depends on the gun. Hunting culture is a thing. If you shoot a deer like with an AR once, everyone's just gonna look at you like you're some fucking nut job. You know, people are just like, they're just gonna look at you fucking weird, right? It doesn't change anything. In fact, it's probably better to shoot a deer with an AR, because it's a smaller round with less. I disagree. I live in the country. I also live in the country. I live in the most country part of the country. I live in southern Mississippi, rural southern Mississippi. If you shoot a deer with an AR, people are just going to look at you like an asshole. If you shoot a deer with like a fucking 8mm Mauser, people are going to treat that better. And I personally don't know why. That deer is going to be fucking dead. There's less meat on that deer now that you've done that. But hey, it's just the culture behind it, you know?
I'll tell you personally, I'm afraid of guns personally myself, but I just think there need to be stricter regulations with it.
But
that's true. Putting out feet and sitting in a chair. Fuck those guys. Fuck people who like just sit around and is like, they're not hunters. They're shooting live targets. They're nothing. And fuck flashers. They also suck. And also, fuck dog hunters. You're letting the dogs do your work. If you want to be a real hunter, you walk around the woods. You look for signs, right? What you need to do is like look for like people like where the deer have been bedding down, like they're very clear trails in the woods. Look for like where there's like substantially more food that deer would like. You gotta track and trace and trail, and you gotta do all that shit. And whether you're going to shoot that deer on foot, or you're gonna like eventually put up a climbing stand where you think a deer might show up, that's real hunting. That's the only hunting I accept. That's the hunting I grew up doing, and that's the only one I'm ever going to accept. Anyone who does anything less than that, you suck. You suck.
the majority of people who die by gunshot are women in a domestic violence situation. So mass
Also
shootings
true.
definitely don't want automatic rifles. Against that, nobody needs them. But the most dangerous gun is the one in your home.
I do want to ask you a question.
That is true. Women with abusive husbands tend to be the majority of murder victims, gun-wise and also stabbing-wise. But if we had a more robust criminal and justice system where, and police system where these men were getting their guns taken away because they are now felons and just getting thrown in jail for being pieces of shit, that would be cool, right? Of course, I disagree with the justice system, but hey, I disagree with most people being in jail. But hey, if you're an abusive person, I don't give a shit. You're not a person to me anymore. So no more human rights. You hit your wife, no more human rights for you. But yeah, the reason why that happens is because a lot of these people actually just get all of that gets kind of like looked away, turned away because a lot of cops are like, no, it's fine. Yeah. There are plenty of abusive people that get let out every day. That's true. Like, also, a lot of people who do get arrested for being, abusive or domestic abuse get thrown in a county jail, and then no federal charges ever get brought up, and there's no trial, and they generally just get put in just for a cool down period, It's sad to say, but yeah. If we had a little bit more robust gun laws where we see like, hey, this person has had domestic abuse calls in their house like at least 3 times in the last 4 years. He's got a habit of drinking. He beats his kids. He's had child protective services come to his house for interviews at least once. Let's not give him a gun. Let's not. He looks pretty angry right now. Let's not give him a gun.
Question. Do you think that women should have the right to bear arms to protect themselves against?
Yeah, I'm not against the right to own guns. The prompt was, do you think owning a gun is a human right?
But do you think?
And I don't agree with that.
In my perspective, I grew up in a gun-riddled neighborhood. I myself am a gun owner now because of the fact that I had to create some type of means of self-defense.
So why did you disagree?
I disagree because I would prefer not to be. I think it's not a human right as much as almost a necessity for a lot of people.
Okay, I can see that. Honestly, I can. But unfortunately, it'd be great if we didn't need them, It would be great. But even if we didn't need them, I probably would still own them because I grew up around them, and I just think they're cool and fascinating to learn how things work. It's like why I like building computers and all kinds of weird electronics, But that woman thinks healthcare, housing, water, and more are rights. Yes. They're all rights. All of them are rights. That's my campaign speech. You deserve healthcare. You deserve water. You deserve food. You deserve a house. And you deserve a gun. All of that. I mean, well, technically, that's like on the hierarchy of needs, that's lower. So I can see the line being drawn. I don't agree with the line drawing there, but I can see it. But yeah, no, I think you deserve all of those things. All of them, literally all of them. Government mandated guns. We give you a gun, we train you how to use it. There you go.
And not everyone. There's a lot of neighborhoods that are very safe, but even in a safe neighborhood, you can be robbed, you can be killed. I've been stuck up.
Hierarchy of needs is just BS. Bro, you saying that water is not more important than food? Bro, you kind of need water more than food. You need air more than water.
Several times with a gun to my face, and all I could think of is, man, if I die, it's going to be because I didn't have a weapon to help protect me.
Do you think that we should take away all guns from the entire world?
Yes, if there was like a magnet, like Magneto from X-Men, and he just suck up all the guns, I think that would be such a better place.
I mean, technically, very, by definition, that would be true. If literally no gun existed in the world, there would be no gun deaths.
My political opinions have hurt my relationships with friends and family.
Let me just get up and walk all the way to the fucking screen and do that.
During 2020, when America got really like politically intense, and my teacher.
I just want to look at
during
something.
During 2020, when
the two conservative teens are still standing. Oh, and a woman over there. Okay. I want to keep that in mind. I want to keep those 3 people in mind, because that it gives me an idea of like what on some stuff.
America got really like
because she's a woman and he's queer. No, this is like talking about like my political opinions have hurt, my relationships. I'll be honest, if you had a lot of gay friends and you like say, oh, I voted Republican this last semester, ooh, they're not going to like you. A lot of them weren't going to like you because they're like, bro, didn't that guy you voted for say he hated gay people? Oh, yeah. You know, it's more of like, I just got a feeling these people just only have conservative friends. Same with her back there. I think she only has liberal friends. Who hates gay people? A lot of people. Hey, I hate to break it to you, man. Homophobes exist. But yeah, it's always interesting seeing people who've like grown up with like very one-sided political biases. I did not grow up with that. I grew up with half of my family had a interesting political dichotomy of just a lot of different thoughts. And the other half was just always just like normal conservative, you know? So it's always interesting seeing the differences between those two. I'll say one side definitely had way more interesting discussions and thoughts and just everything in general. And the other one was a lot more boring to be around.
Politically intense. My teacher, she was very politically active, and she wanted us to, speak our voices. And they found I was conservative, and they said, "Okay, you're completely going against what we believe. Like the whole school is very liberal," and I guess they just kind of pushed me away.
Did you feel like you would get bullied?
No,
after?
I'll just get looks. Some people come up and say, "You're a racist," or "You're xenophobic." They would tell me, "Oh, do you support Trump?" But I just brushed it off. I told them, "Hey, I respect that you think like this. Please respect me."
I think that
I don't get like that. I don't get that mentality of like, I respect that you feel like this, when they oftentimes don't respect how people feel about that. Respect me for how I feel about this. Sometimes people do believe that, but generally when people say that shit, they don't fucking mean it, I respect people. I don't respect people's beliefs, I think everyone has had a complex and interesting life, and what's led them to their beliefs is oftentimes out of their control. So I don't hate the person for that. I just hate their beliefs a lot of the time, It's just weird. He's saying, don't call me names because what I said. That is the respect. No. Like, when people say, like, why are you calling me homophobic just because I'm a conservative? Well, you voted in people, you actively stand behind people who oppose gay rights in a lot of things. You are homophobic on that account. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's kind of like the truth. Right? I guess respect is calling people racist and xenophobes. I mean, by definition, oftentimes they are. They just don't like those words because they sound bad. And they're like, please don't call me the nasty words. I have to give it to like the far right oftentimes because they just fully accept those words. Like, yes, I am racist. You're just making this up, though? No, I mean, okay. Trump was homophobic and transphobic, right? Because he wanted to reel back gay marriage. He didn't get to it, but he had plans to do it, and he spoke about it. Trump wanted to reel back trans rights, and he did on some accounts because he got rid of trans people serving in the military, therefore transphobic. And if you support that, yes, you are transphobic. Yes, you are homophobic. So actual racists. Trump supported gay marriage. Well, he definitely did not talk very well about it on the campaign trail. Whenever he said he was going to try to reel it back, whenever he had that campaign speech in Alabama, yeah, and he definitely didn't like trans people whenever he stopped them from joining the military. He is the only president to support gay marriage before being elected. I mean, that is true. That he did do that. However, he supported that back when he was in the Freedom Party and back when he was very different. Trump's a weird one because he is different. I agree with the military ban, and I am not homophobic or transphobic. Hey, I hate to break it to you, you are transphobic if you don't think trans people should be in the military. You don't agree with a trans person having the same right as a cis person, that is transphobic. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You can frame it that way, but you are wrong. No, see, because you, by definition, am I schizophobic? I don't know. Do you think schizophrenia people should be treated worse than non-schizophrenic people? That one I can't answer, but you agree with trans people not having the same rights as a cis person, therefore transphobic. Right? That's simple, right? It's a simple. I agree with that trans people should have the same rights and opportunities as cis people. Okay, cool. Not transphobic. I don't think trans rights should have the same opportunities as cis people. All right, transphobic. Do schizo people have the same rights? Yes. Yes, they should. This is simple, but yeah, you don't get it? No, I think you just don't get it. I've dumbed it down the most possible way. If you don't consider yourself transphobic, that's just because you don't agree with the definition of transphobia. So you think schizophrenic people should be in the army? Yes, there are schizophrenic people in the army. I knew a guy in high school who joined the Marines who was on schizophrenic meds. And guess what? The military paid for his meds. And they were like, hey, you got really good grades. And you performed very well in PT. Yeah, hell yeah, get in the Marines. Fuck yeah, dude. Because that stuff can be like regulated, right? You're not always just going to be schizophrenic. There is meds and all that. They let depressed people in the army. They let people with anxiety in the army. That whole, like, the army has this one, like, severe checkup that, like, oh, you have, like, your flat foot. Yeah, that's not true. Weren't they only banned until they got surgery against trans people using the military to pay for their surgery tests, then left? No, they were just banned from joining outright. Like, even people who were, like, post-op, like, completely transitioned, were not allowed because they were like, oh, you'll just use your military. You're only here to get, like, the free HRT. No, they were just completely banned from joining the military. To be fair, most people who are post-op are like past military joining age, so it was not very common, but yeah, still, they were just banned completely. You people can't read? What did Waffle say then? Hold on, let me get the big chat up. To be fair, weren't they only banned until they got surgery? Trans people were using the military to pay for surgery. That's literally what I fucking read. That's literally what I fucking read. And no, they were not banned pre-op, just pre-op. They were banned pre-op, post-op, literally any moment. They were like, if you're trans, you're not allowed in. Their reasoning was because they were like, you're just joining the military to get the surgery. But hey, even if you already had the surgery, you still couldn't join the military. Again, transphobia.
That is, whether or not we have the same ideas, I think that is still an admirable quality.
Yeah.
Despite getting looks or feeling like maybe you don't belong, that you're still, you have your...
To be fair, yeah, a lot of Twitch streamers can't read. I'm one of them. I am dyslexic as shit. I don't know how I did good on the ACT, and I don't know how I'm doing well in class now. It takes me a minute. Probably screen size and such. Yeah, this one's really hard because I'm streaming off one screen, and it's split down the middle to where I have this video on one end and I got Streamlabs on the other. It's really hard to read. I miss my actual computer setup, but I could not bring my computer with me, sadly.
Convictions, yeah. So I can respect that you're convicted.
Yeah.
I think being liberal, we think of the right as being stuck in the sand. It's interesting to hear that liberals were not having his right opinion. I think that everyone should have their opinion.
Well, I think we're talking about issues that aren't a matter of opinion, but a matter of your morality, the value of human lives. I've had to...
I mean, true. Like economics, honestly, debates I could give two shits about. You know, it's all numbers and theory and all of that. I'm not a leftist because I've read political theory. I'm a leftist because I've lived in a community and I've seen the effects of how more socialist work environments benefit its people. Like, I've seen how unions have made people's lives a lot better, got them better pay, and have actually worked out for the company. I've seen how worker cooperatives have been much better environments. And I've seen how more capitalist elements have been a lot more toxic and yada, yada, yada. I'm not that because I read theory and all that. So I don't really care too much to get into like deep economic arguments and all of that. However, culture war stuff I do care a little bit more about, because if you're disagreeing on where people's rights are, yeah, I'm going to have a few things to say, you know? That's ultimately not a thing of like, oh, we'll just have to agree to disagree. It's like, no. You want people to have less rights. You want people to be below you. We're not going to agree to disagree there. We're just going to fucking disagree. Economics, who gives a shit, right? That ultimately, I don't think having some economic prescriptions are going to make you a good or bad person. I think you just have beliefs. But if you're just like, yeah, I don't mind a guy who said trans people should be round up and shot. Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with that, you know.
You personally block a few people on Facebook, family members.
Oh, wow.
Mostly men that are married to the women in my family. Like, hey, this conversation is really getting personal and hurtful, and if you carry on this way, I'm gonna have to block you.
Were they harassing you?
I feel very harassed. Yeah, I'm belittled.
Were you ostracized, or was there someone that you...
I think on my end, it was myself. I understand people have different beliefs, and I respect that. And I think it's good for everyone to share their beliefs. That's the way we progress. But I think when people become ignorant or offensive consistently without any type of evidence or any type of backup behind that, that's the point where I say, you know what, I probably shouldn't be friends with you, because...
Yeah, I can get that. I've always tried to have like the vast array of friends. I've never been like one to just like cut off people for political stuff. Now, moral stuff and them being shitheads, yes, I'll cut people off in a second, in a heartbeat. But then there's just, even in like here, like with this chat, you know, like I said, I don't ban people unless they personally begin to annoy me and ruin the stream, you know? It's like that. Like when people just start spamming the same shit over and over again, then I'm just going to either tune them out. But then if they start spamming it to where I can't read anyone else's messages, yeah, no, I'm sorry, ban. But like I do like political debates, you know, it opens up myself and it opens up other people. So yeah, I like this man's point.
You may smile in my face, but behind my back, you have a different sentiment.
I haven't lost any relationships because me and my friends don't really dive into politics. We kind of just play video games and talk about comics together. I think if you lose a relationship over politics, that's kind of sad.
Unfortunately, it's a part of growing up.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully you won't lose any friends, but...
Rock for the legend. He's always within the lore of the Trash Pile cinematic universe. We'll never forget him. He was the first villain.
Usually as you get older, you start to see those divides a little clearer.
I mean, you guys are older than us. Was it like this going back 20 years ago?
Politics has changed so much, and I think you touched on it, that now it's being associated, policy is being associated with ethics. I haven't...
That's true. I will say, like, just even though I'm young, politics has definitely become more of a, for the public people, it has become more of a cultural thing than what it used to be. Someone just shot outside. That's fun. I like it. I love people shooting. I'm not in the country anymore. I'm within city limits. That's fun. But yeah, no, politics has definitely become more culturally inclusive, and I think it's because it's focused more on cultural war issues than at any other point in history. Like, look at the big political divides now. It's like vaccine mandates and trans people and all of that. Go back a little bit, you know, you go back just a few decades ago, it's about like, oh, do trickle-down economics actually work? What about the expansion of welfare? Like even with Obama, right? His main people were always talking about like Obamacare, Obamacare, Obamacare. Now you just get you turn on Fox News and all you see is Leah Thomas, vaccine mandates, pregnancy centers. It's very different, and I think it's because people have realized that the public gets more in tune to culture war stuff than actual political debate. Because we all have an opinion about abortion or marijuana. Not everyone has opinions on tax reforms, you know?
Lost any friendships or relationships because I won't allow that to happen. I believe that the majority of us, probably about 80%, are in the middle with varying degrees. And there are those people who are very, very conservative, very, very ultra-liberal, who are the outliers.
But I think it's subtle. Where you have somebody that you meet with on a regular basis, you talk with them, you have a good time. If topics get brought up, and it's a oh, okay, you're one of those. They don't tell you that to your face, but it's kind of subtle.
Yeah.
And also, I think with the prevalence of social media, people's opinions are a lot more out there.
That's
never
also
understood
true.
why anyone posted political opinions on social media. I think it's just annoying.
Well, I have 3
That's
kids.
I try not to post political stuff online because not overtly, at least. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I say gay people good, and some people lose their shit, you know. But just all the time, I can't do the political posting all the time. Even like this, even though this is like politics, this is mainly just me reacting to shit at the end of the day, you know. This is commentary. This isn't like me like writing down about like a bunch of like theory and whatever. You look like a younger, whiter Ghassan Mossad. Hold on. I gotta look up who that is. I'm looking up who that is. Ghassan Mossad. If that's even how you say it. Syrian act. You know? You're not far off. I see it. You know, I see it. I can see it. You know, I'll let that one slide. You know what? I'll let that one slide. I don't know how it is, but people always guess I'm from like the Middle East or somewhere, but I am not. I am not. I am from the Americas, like pure Americas. He looks good. Yeah, he's not a bad looking guy, so I'm okay with you calling me that. If you pulled some ugly guy, I'd be a little bit upset.
They know more about politics than I did when I was voting age.
It's annoying, yeah.
I think it's very encouraging because they're going to be more informed when they are.
All people are from tribes? Hell yeah. I am from Huichol and Chamula, specifically. My tribes right there, baby.
Of voting age.
You're like a young Surge. God damn it. Fucking Surge. Yes, I know. I do. I'm fine with that, though. Love System of a Down.
I mean, yeah, it makes life more divisive. I mean, there's more arguments and stuff, and more relationships ending because politics is such a big part of life.
We begin today.
Shut the fuck up, please. 3 minutes. God, very nice to meet you. Yeah, you too. 3 minutes? Why can't you people put 30 seconds? No one. Look, I don't care if it's a movie trailer. Make it 30 seconds. I really don't want to watch your ad.
I am a liberal parent. I have many children. I have 4. My oldest daughter is extremely left-wing. My 2 middle daughters are roughly right in the middle there. And then Chase is conservative.
My name is Chase. I'm 19 years old. And
is that his dad? Oh, shit. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, that's so awkward. Oh, I hate but love talking politics with my parents because, one, it's so funny with my dad because he will push back to, like, he will not give you an inch at all. And at some point he gets upset. He's just like, yeah. Anyways, and move on to a completely different topic. all the time at the grill or at supper, as whenever we talk about politics. But when my mom, she's just like, huh, well, I didn't know. Okay. Okay. But here's the thing. My mom's opinion would not change. My dad will walk in like 2 days later and he's like, so I was looking up what you were talking about. And I'm like, yeah, you're actually right. And I was like, I know, that's why I said it. Like, I love it. It's such that, like, it's easier talking to my mom about it, but there's no progress. Talking to my dad about it, it's a lot harder, but there is so much more progress. It's so fucking funny. I love it. Do we have the same dad? Probably. We probably do. The funny thing is, my dad used to just be like barely political, but going through my political phase when I first became a conservative back in the dark ages of my life, I turned him out onto more like the standard online conservative culture versus the just voting stuff. So it's a lot of times it's me pulling him out of what I put him into. Like, I've seen him pull up PragerU videos on Facebook, and I'm like, I should never have told you about this channel. I should have never liked this channel and then told you about it. Which is fair, because then it's a lot easier for me to counteract his arguments. Economics, I'm never going to pull him out that he voted for Reagan, I never test my dad. I always test my dad. I'm never the one to bring up political stuff. He does. I'm the one who just stops and points out some stuff. You sent this man on a whole ass roller coaster. Yeah, I did. That's my fault. Like, he was like a standard like normal Republican. He was just like, I watch Fox News sometimes. I don't turn on. I'll if it's got R by the name, I'm probably gonna vote for him. It was like that. But then I got online and started watching bullshit YouTube channels, and then I pulled him in, and he's there in that same mindset I was in 2016, and I'm still like trying to pull him out, but I don't get to see him that often, so it's hard. Yeah. It's my fault, but hey, what could I do? At least he's not as big into Trump anymore. Like, he honestly, now he admits how much he hates Trump, but he's just like, but now he's on the DeSantis thing, so that's fun.
And I'm on the conservative teen side. My dad's Scott. We talk about politics, mostly gun rights and the government in the economy. We disagree, but we like hearing each other's side.
See, I would say it is very nice that my parents, because we agree on a lot of like socially like libertarian issues. It's just like gun good, mask mandate, or vaccine mandate bad, abortion bad, drug war bad. It's just like it's easy, most of that's easy. Like, sometimes we have like little disagreements here, but for the most part, largely we agree. Except for my mom. She's just like, abortion bad, always banned, fuck you, I don't care, you baby killer. And I was like, woof.
Feminist movement is overrated.
I'm sorry, she stepped out with the fucking oh shit.
The reason I sat down.
Oh man, he came after it too. He was like, fuck, all right, now I'll go. I see a woman moving, I'll go too.
Is because feminist.
Oh shit, Eden also came over here, and the only reason why I remember her name is because it's the Garden of Eden, and she's been the Christian girl.
As we know it in social media and the marches is generally run by white women, and we don't have a lot of intersectionality. Margaret Sanger.
I was not expecting that take. Holy shit, that's a based fucking take.
Margaret Sanger,
yeah,
yes.
and
Susan B. Anthony.
Susan B. Anthony, total racist. The women that headed up the suffragette movement, they were not inclusive.
Of course, yes.
And they wanted rights for white women.
That's true.
And that thread has followed us to be very exclusionary to black women, disabled women, women of color, indigenous women.
I don't think that feminism in America is based off racism. The reason why there's...
It's not, but there was a lot of racists in it. It's like the founding fathers were like for the rights of, non-royalty. Yes, only non-white royalty. Oh. Only Anglo-Saxon non-white royalty. Oh. Only men non-royalty. Oh. It's a step forward. It's better than just only caring, only royal people having rights. But at the same time, it could have been better. Okay, put it back up, wait.
More white feminists is because there's a higher white population in America. So generally...
Well, no, not even that. Well, I guess statistically more white feminists in America because that, but I'll be honest, feminism does come from a place of privilege within American history and the actual feminist movement. A lot of these people were like upper middle class, upper class people. A combination of all three of those, and had time to actually do this. There was always that it's because they could afford to do it. Meanwhile, like a lot of working women, didn't really have that time, so there was a lot of just their voices not being heard, and yeah. And also black women also having to work, not being in the movement, and combine that with racism, yeah, and that momentum has just carried forward. It's not necessarily just because there's more white women. It's just because there was that privilege to be involved in politics, Modern feminist movement harbors too many TERFs too. That is true. That is very true. But I also don't consider those feminists. I consider those misandrists because they don't even care about the broader things about what feminism is supposed to care about. They just care about themselves, They only care about, like, us women should have it good. Because, feminism is about giving women rights and all of that, yes, on the surface. But there's also, like, the broader inner workings of tearing down the patriarchy, meaning making the playing field more equal, as in helping men with their problems, helping women with their problems. That's a big thing about what feminism is and what it does. But then you get misandrists who don't give a shit about men's issues, and then I don't call them feminists because they just only care about women. And then you get TERFs who are just the same thing, and they don't care about trans women. And it's just like, well, guess what? You don't care. You just care about cis women. You just only care about what affects you. You're not actually part of the movement. You're just selfish.
There's going to be more.
You may not agree, however, believe that white politicians do not represent and put whites first. They aren't white supremacists, rather they work only for profit and power, submitting and working to the benefit of the corporations and lobbyists only. I mean, I will somewhat agree with that. I don't think these people were like actively doing it, but it's just that innate subconscious bias that a lot of times is what's happening. And yeah, sometimes they are very open about it because, some of these politicians are super fucking old, right? Some of them were alive pre-integration. Yeah, so some of them are absolutely just racist. But yeah, I do agree that politicians most of the time just go and act only for their people who are donating to them and lobbyists and corporations. I do believe that that's probably the main factor of the things they do, but I also say that there is I'll say it's like 60-40. 60% they're just caving into like their donors and lobbyists, and 40% is just what they actually believe. I'll give it that split.
More white feminists because of that.
I think that definitely in the beginning of feminism, feminists wanted votes for women, that women would be allowed to work, would be allowed to go to universities and such. I definitely agree with that, but I think that feminism has gone too far into saying my body, my choice, and saying that women are not all equal, saying that women are being suppressed by white men and such things.
What is that logic? Yeah, I believe women should go to university and vote. But I think the feminism movement has gone too far by saying, because now women are saying that they're oppressed by white men. Weren't the women who were trying to get votes, voting rights and go to universities, weren't they also saying they were oppressed by white men? You make it sound like they didn't come far enough, you know what I mean? You make it sound like they come too far by not completing their goal.
No, we got a long way to go. There's just not enough done.
In America or just in the world in general?
Well,
I know what she's talking about, but it's just like the way she framed it is just so weird. Now, waves are so odd to define in feminism. I go with the right-wing theory of dividing them up into waves. Like the first wave is like the suffragette, voting rights, prohibition, all of that. Second wave is, the Equality Act, all of that, yada yada. Third wave was the intersectionality, and fourth wave was the Me Too. Most people say the intersectionality was too far. Some people say that that's okay, and the real problem was Me Too. Yeah. I think intersectionality within feminism is good and cool and based because, yeah, you should care about the rights of everyone. That stuff came around in like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I think, yes, feminism at the end of the day should be making the playing field equal for everyone, for men, for women, on just about most, if not all aspects, That's where the idea of toxic masculinity came from. Men not saying their problems, which causes higher death rates. So maybe we as a society should push for men to open up about their emotions and get rid of that. That's an example of feminism being intersectional because it's also caring about the plight of men. And Me Too, I agree with Me Too because it's like, hey, even powerful women can be abused, by more powerful men, and that we should all speak up about our, sexual abuse and all of that. She believes that they went too far by not going far enough by going too far. She's on the 8th wave of feminism. We just aren't on her level. Dude, who knows what we're thinking about this in a line. She's thinking about this 3-dimensionally. We don't even know. There's 2 axes to this.
America, for sure. The world in general is a heck of a lot worse than America.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that women should be able to do everything
Yeah.
that men can, but we also have to protect ourselves. So if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and do one of the hardest jobs on the planet, you absolutely should be able to do that. But you should also discuss with your partner and put in things into place so that you're protected if you choose to do that. Some women aren't doing that, like life insurance and things like that. I think part of feminism is being able to take care of yourself.
Capitalism
Okay, that's
is
weird.
failing our society.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not going to walk forward on that one. Hello. I don't know you, but you're an ad. She's drawing third traces in 4D shapes. We're thinking in points. Fuck. Dude. Don't bring that up to me right now. I'm in thermodynamics. That shit hurts.
This system that just values production, consumerism until you die doesn't work for anybody but a very, very, very small percentage of billionaires. And it's all baloney. The system is rigged to keep workers working, and the rich just keep getting richer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there could be some good in capitalism, which is like the innovation part of it. But in general, capitalism definitely sucks from the poor. There's a lot of industries that definitely shouldn't have any capitalism involved at all. The medical field, it's unjust that certain people get better care than other people just because they're more financially well off. Who are they to determine the value of life? The healthcare system creates such profit, and that profit is created off the misery of others, of the illness of others, including.
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting either of these two to have that great of a take, but holy shit, they're doing it. It's not my favorite takes, but hey, it's better than what I was expecting.
The prison system, where you have jails that are privately owned, because at that point, what you have is a hotel, and you want to fill up the hotel. Why would there be a business that profits off of crime? That doesn't make any sense. If you put profit ahead of people, people are going to suffer, obviously.
All right, let's see how this gets. This is gonna get fucking
so you
wild.
Said, like only the billionaires succeed in capitalism, and I gotta disagree with that because I'm the CEO of my own company. A couple months ago, I started a jewelry company.
Bless his soul. He's so innocent. He's so fucking innocent. Whew. I have to disagree. For the past few months, I've been a CEO. I've benefited greatly off capitalism. Bro, if that's how you define CEO and benefiting all of that, I've been a CEO of a clothing company for like 2 years now. I'm the CEO of this Twitch channel and my Instagram account and my YouTube channels. Crazy. I just, that shit's funny.
And I'm not a billionaire, but it's been relatively successful enough to I can make rent and go through college a bit. So I think there's people like me who own a small business who capitalism really benefits.
If capitalism isn't the solution, then what is the solution?
Do you want to hear it?
No.
Socialism?
She was just like, I like this woman. I like her. She's interesting to watch.
Socialism.
So the problem with democratic socialism, I mean, you talk about how capitalism hurts the middle class, but in reality, if democratic socialism was tried, the middle class are going to be paying way more taxes, not just the rich. You see, the rich don't pay taxes because they don't work. They make money off assets. The middle class, they work. And because they're working, they're going to pay more taxes under a proposal like Bernie Sanders or, I don't know, AOC or Ilhan Omar.
Okay, but yes, they will be paying more taxes. However, costs generally go down, in America at least, because one of the main things we don't have is healthcare. And yeah, even though, let's say if we had universal healthcare, our taxes would go up, we would actually be saving more money because then we're not having to pay for like health insurance or anything like that, which is more expensive than the tax increases that have been proposed. So yeah, taxes go up, but costs go down, meaning savings go up. You see what I mean? You know, it's just like your taxes go up, but yeah, that's the only argument they have. They don't actually like do the math on this stuff.
Personally, am okay with paying higher taxes. I would love people who make billions of dollars to pay their fair share of taxes, but increase taxes for a better situation for people overall. That.
Not to mention, I also forgot to mention this. The middle class already pay more taxes than the upper class, percentage-wise. Remember those Trump tax cuts? That actually made the middle class pay more taxes than the upper class. So, under your theory of like what socialism making us pay more taxes would do, we're already having to do that with capitalism. So, crazy.
That is exactly what I stand for.
I'm not sure that socialism is the answer. Yugoslavia before World War II did okay, but they didn't do all that great, and they were taken over quite quickly. What I'm thinking is...
What? Is he talking about like actually during the war? It was like... Yeah, but Yugoslavia wasn't socialist before World War II. They were a kingdom. And then afterwards, after World War II, they became socialist. And although not great, they were one of the more successful socialist societies compared to like the USSR and Maoist China. Not great. I wouldn't want to live there, but yeah. And also they weren't taken over. They collapsed, fell in on themselves. So
capitalism, although is not the best solution, is one of the best solutions for a democratic society.
Think about socialism, you think about...
See, I don't agree with capitalism being democratic, right? Because it's not. You know, if you're working for a business, you didn't elect your boss in. You didn't have a vote. You get almost little to no representation within a capitalist system. However, in my internship, I work for a worker cooperative. It's a not-for-profit power distribution center. Everything we do is democratic, right? It's technically a socialist system because there is no, there's not a person who owns the company. All of the people who receive power own the company, and people who work for the company ultimately elect the people who are like the chairman of the board and our CEO. That's democratic, but hey, that's worker owned, so it's by definition socialist. So capitalism is just, you spend 8 hours of your life, 8 hours a day, in time of your life, in a place run by someone you didn't elect. That is not democratic whatsoever,
About wealth distribution. And then money becomes a very big role too, because the ones that have less money become envious of those that have more money. And then money is like...
Well, yeah, probably because people who have less money need more money to survive.
It becomes a god because you don't want anyone else to have that money but yourself. And if...
Okay, yeah, rich people tend to hoard money. Yes. Because they could not spend that much money quick enough. Since she's the Christian, I'm just going to say, it is easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter heaven.
If you, for example, look at the Scandinavian countries, they have a capitalistic market, but they have a socialist wealth distribution. And that's why it works over there. And I personally come from Europe, so I have seen that.
So you think that works?
So she's from a mixed economy. And she's talking about how socialism does help.
I personally don't think that works. I think it takes a lot of money from the rich and from the middle class.
It takes money from the rich. Oh no! I don't see that as an issue. It honestly sounds so sick. Show me your ways, bro. I'm trying to get that experience with these graveyard shit. I looked into this. I didn't even know I didn't even regularly know how that company operated until I joined in and they explained it to me. I thought it was just another for-profit company. No, it's cool. It's an electric cooperative. I don't know if computer engineers can do that, but hey, look into it. Regular people don't know what capitalism and socialism are. They think they are political systems. Yeah, exactly. Like most people who in America who hear socialist, they are basically just like, oh, socialism? You mean like that 1984 book? I don't like it. They think socialism is when government does things. No, it is not. Taxes are still an economic issue more than political. Yeah, basically. But even then, it's part of politics, It's just most people don't have that great of an understanding of it. Like I said, economics people don't really know that well compared to culture war stuff where people tend to at least have more opinions on it. Like, it's the fact, I am from Mississippi and I work for what is considered a socialist company, right? But not a soul in that company would know it's socialist. They would think it's just another company. Despite, all of us getting a vote in how the company is run. It's like that. Like, I'm in one of the deepest red states and I work for a socialist company. It's just really weird,
My name is Nathan. I'm 18 years old. I would like to ask the other side if they believe America is the greatest country in the world.
It's the greatest at some things. I know the left has a problem with patriotism and all of that. I am personally a patriot. I do love America, but not for the politics or the state. I love it because of the culture, It's where I grew up, right? It's so, I don't like the government, how it's run. I don't like a lot of the issues we deal with in this country. However, am I going to turn on King of the Hill and am I going to all of a sudden be like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. It's just that shit. I don't know what it is. It's just that cultural, hamburgers, hot dogs are so fucking awesome. I don't know what it is. It just hits me in a way. It hits me, So I'm a little bit of a patriot for that.
If they
I will say though, I don't like our national anthem, and I think the flag is kind of not the greatest looking flag.
disagree with that, I want to know what country they believe is better than America. I do believe it's a blessing and it's a privilege.
Like I said, is America great? Sure, it's great at a lot of things. Is it the best standard of living? No. If we're going on that metric, I'm gonna go with no. Freedom index, also no. Democracy index, also no. Do we have some of the best food in the world? Yes. Do we have some of the best architecture? I'll go with yeah. Do we have some of the best, like one of the best music industries? Yes. Socialist / communist anthems go hard. I'm not even that. I don't even care about like those socialist anthems. When I say the American national anthem, I'm talking about what should have been the American national anthem, which is America the Beautiful. God damn. If that was our national anthem, I would get on stilts to stand taller. You know, that song is beautiful to me. I love that song. Meanwhile, the Star Spangled Banner, God, it's a song about a flag. Who gives a shit about a flag? I want to know about America, the landscape, the people. It's such a good song. I also did Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. I would not mind that being a national anthem. That's a little bit more divisive, but that was chosen. And hey, when I hear that song, I'm also like getting hype as fuck. Not gonna lie. The story behind the flag is good though, but it's a flag at the end of the day. I don't want my anthem to be about the flag. I think, I think the flag kind of looks ugly. It's just not that pleasing compared to other flags. America the Beautiful is a song about the beauty of the landscape of America, both in its nature and the people. I love that shit. That's so much deeper than a song about the flag from a battle of a war that was technically a stalemate. Yeah, it's completely possible that they made it up, but for most accounts, it seems to be true. It's just, man, it's not cool. It's not catching. It's just like, it's a flag. It's a song about a flag. At the end of the day, you boil it down, it's a song about a flag. Cool story, but a song about America itself. Plus the national anthem, the actual musicality, it's not great. It's not fun. It's not that fun to listen to. Like the actual instruments are just like, America the Beautiful. I'm sitting there, I'm screaming. It's easy to scream. It's a good chant for everyone. It can get people hype as fuck. It's good. It's good stuff. Glory, Glory, even more hype. I have a strong opinion on this more than anything. Any other political prescription, I don't have that strong of an opinion. National anthem, now you got me going.
Privilege to live in a country that gives you the liberty and freedom and to express who you want to be.
The American dream is dead.
Yes, it is. Also, we got an ad coming up. Oh my god. What the fuck is that? Pee-Pee's theme? Damn. Oh, here she goes. Here she comes.
I gotta say, I disagree with the phrase "American dream." An American dream for who? The Native Americans we slaughtered, the enslaved people. I mean, this romantic idea that there's this dream is just basically marketing for capitalism. It's very
true. Who would you commission to rewrite the national anthem if you could choose anyone? Less than Jake. Just because I got the album called The Anthem, and that is still a top 10 album for me. I love it so much.
It's very well-funded propaganda and
America the Beautiful is a religious song. Yeah, it talks about God shedding his grace on thee. But I'll be honest. We took a verse out of the Star Spangled Banner. I think we could take a verse out of America the Beautiful and it'd still be good. You know, we could just take God out of the song. It's not that hard. We took out the very racist shit in the Star Spangled Banner. So why not just take out God in America the Beautiful? Like I said, Glory, Glory, even more divisive because it's even more about God. The song is literally called Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. But that one's not even for the message. That one's just because it gets me going. It gets me. I hear that song and I get drafted to war and I hear that song. I'm running out. I'm running out ass naked with a knife towards the enemy. It's that kind of shit. But it's just like it's not even talking specifically about religion, which I feel like is fine. It's just saying it's so beautiful that God, only God could have created it. And I think it's just a beautiful meaning. Versus like, hell yeah, that flag's still up there, brother.
As it inspired good acts and good people to do good things, of course, because ultimately, in a large sense, humanity is good. But this idea of the American dream, I think, is, I think the fantasy of it is being torn apart a little bit. And I think that's actually exciting because it opens up room for something better, something more inclusive to grow.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think the American dream is dead. I think it's very much still there. Whether it's achievable, that's different. I don't think it's that achievable for the average person, especially the average American. I mean, the fact that immigrants have a higher success rate than actual born citizens, and by immigrants, I mean like Europeans and Asians and people who can afford to immigrate here. Latin Americans, not so much. But yeah, it's just the dream is not that achievable anymore. To have like life, we don't have that great of a life expectancy compared to a lot of our contemporaries. Not to mention we also end up killing a lot of people through our advanced police state, which is not great. And we also don't have a great healthcare system. And yeah, so life, we're not that great. Liberty, well, on democracy indexes and corruption, we're not also doing great compared to a lot of our contemporaries. The fact that we even still have the electoral college and gerrymandering and lobbying and all of that just proves that democracy is just not great within America. Now, we can go with the pursuit of happiness or pursuit of property. Because technically the first original version was pursuit of property, but we'll address both. But pursuit of property. Holy shit, we're broke as fuck. We can't even buy houses anymore. So no, we don't have pursuit of property. Pursuit of happiness? Well, we don't have life, liberty, or property. So what's there to be happy about, you know? I guess it depends on what you mean by dead. If you mean like unreachable, that could be taken to mean dead too. Yeah, but I still think like the American dream, like the idea is still there, and it's something that I see that a lot of people are still fighting towards. Like that's why I see like the protest back in 2020. Like I saw that as like the American dream itself, because hey, America was founded by what was essentially a protest, but with guns and cannons. You know, that's people trying to better their lives. I see that as like an extension of the American dream. America is about looking top and ignoring the bottom. It's always been like that for a reason, and it works somehow. Other countries look on average people and even on the bottom, people as a measure. Exactly. Like GDP, like it's just as, for example, like America uses it, you know, measures how great it is through its economy and through its GDP. Not GDP per capita, but just overall GDP. And it's just like, who gives a fuck about like how much money stockbrokers are making if 30% of families can't afford to feed their kids this week, you know? It's great. Like America like to, you know, always puts itself up and then we don't fulfill our promises. And by that, I guess you could take it to mean that the American dream is dead. I think the American dream is dead for the average person because it's just unreachable. But for other, if you're born into a billionaire family, you go get him, Tiger. It's full and alive for you. Not even median GDP, just average per capita, which is not right. Exactly. Like, I hate how we measure economies. But what do you get in this system, you know? What do you get? Capitalism.
I think the phrase is kind of corny, but the idea that someone's like building themselves up in capitalism, I feel like that I kind of have done that a bit with my business.
My
so
business?
I don't think it's dead.
I do think the American dream is dying, though. You know, the American dream now is not the same as it was 30 years ago. Have a family, buy a home, have a great job.
I think that's still the dream for a lot of people, but people can't afford to have families. People can't afford to buy homes, and people are getting like 2 to 3 jobs that doesn't pay them enough to do anything. I think if that's what you define as the American dream, yes. But I've always seen the American dream as just coming into a country, the land of opportunity. You come in and get to do whatever you want. Hey, thanks, T-Ru Gaming. I really appreciate that. But it's like I've always seen it as coming in and being able to just have a better life than what you've had from any other country. You know, have the best possible life. And we don't have that at all. We are, like I said, by most of our contemporaries, bottom, or not bottom, but pretty low on the list compared to a lot. Hey, thanks. Oh my God, I could not read that name fast enough. But thank you for following. I really appreciate that as well. I appreciate you both. Kisses to both of you from a mic. I'm not going to do that. That would sound awful. Also really weird. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that I just see that as the American dream. Like the whole nuclear family. Not really, but that's how people get their fulfillment. So I guess that's fine. It's just, yeah. But both of those are essentially dead. Like even the nuclear family is an extension of the original, like life, liberty, pursuit of property, and pursuit of happiness. You know? And we just don't fulfill any of those.
But now it's very difficult to buy a home. Income
he addresses
not increased compared to the price of a house. You know, I do think it's dying though, but I don't think it's completely dead because there's a lot of immigrants who are still trying to come to America. America does have the highest immigrant population. 14% of our population are immigrants. We have a lot of people on our southern border, and I think they all want to come to America.
Yeah, I think the American...
Funny thing about that, though, is that most immigrants now are not even coming to America. They're going to Canada because Canada actually very openly welcomes immigrants because they don't have that great of a population out there, and that's a good cheap way of getting them. But yeah, it's always so funny talking with like people who've just like recently immigrated because my mom she works with immigrants, and she's just like, so how the fuck do you end up here? And then these people are just like, well, we were on our way to Canada, but then we figured this is far enough. We didn't realize Canada was that far. That shit is just funny to me. And excuse me, I'm just having to post something really quick. And now I get to turn this alarm off. Sick. All right. Awesome. Interesting. You want to move to a new country, wouldn't you like to move to a country with free healthcare? Exactly. Like that's why a lot of these people are like end up gunning for Canada. But hey, Canada to Guatemala is far. You've already had to go through one massive country. You had to go through all of Mexico to get there. Now you got to go through an even bigger one? Holy shit, yeah. No, I would stop halfway through too. I'd be tired. And then it's just like, fuck. Isn't Toronto very cold? Ah, fuck it. We'll stop in Des Moines, Iowa. Fuck that, you know? And it's also the reason why a lot of people immigrate here now. Like, our immigration from, like, other parts of the world has slowed down significantly, and it's a lot of stuff from the southern border. But a lot of that's because they have family here who've done better, you know? Oftentimes, like, through Texas, California, New Mexico, Arizona. Yeah.
Dreams still exist, and I can speak firsthand because my family came from a third world country. But so does the American nightmare. The people suffering not just here, but also around the world due to policies, due to exploitation, due to colonization, due to a lot of issues that.
Yeah, it's also one thing. A lot of people also don't want to talk about how America actively fucked with those countries south of the border to us and made it a hellhole. Yeah.
That are directly at hand.
It's like it's like how we're talking about capitalism versus socialism. Why do socialist countries within Latin America have higher emigration rates? Have lower immigration rates than those who are ultra capitalist and like right wing. Why do the left wing countries in Latin America have less immigrants coming to America? Probably because more people are happy there. Now, by that, I don't mean Venezuela, because holy shit, that's just a nightmare. But like Chile and Peru, when compared to like right-wing countries like Chile and Peru, like just a few years ago, who had way higher people, way bigger numbers of immigrants coming to the U.S. It's just really odd how that happens. The major problem we have in this country is inflation, and people are sick and tired of Biden blaming the Republicans for the problems Biden has created. Oh boy, oh boy. Inflation. See, I don't even call it inflation because it's not. The American dollar has remained steady. But stuff's getting charged. Costs are going up. Why is that? It's not really inflation, more price gouging. Gas being a good example. Barrels, actual crude oil barrels and the process to turn oil to gas has not gotten more expensive. But gas is more expensive. Weird, right? But also, gas companies are starting to make record profits. Weird. Huh. Odd. Very odd, very odd. It's almost like somehow those are connected.
To America. So there's a lot of blood on the United States' hand, and a lot of people don't want to leave their home country, but the situations that have been created there are forcing people to leave. Like my mother would have loved to stay in Mexico, but unfortunately due to poverty, which had a lot to do with NAFTA and what happened in 1994, directly caused by the United States, issues that created this migration. So is it a better...
Inflation is everywhere in the world. It's just China likes nice things now. That's a big part of the problem. I mean, like I said, it's not necessarily everywhere in the world in the way that is being portrayed. Like Europe, they're not having an inflation crisis on, like the way we are, like an inflation crisis, the way we are. It seems to be the rates that it's going up seems to be a very homegrown issue. And even though supposedly prices are going up because of inflation, companies are making record profits. It's almost like inflation's not a thing. They're just raising the price on stuff and then making more money,
Better opportunity here? Yes, my people come here and we send our money back to our ancestors. Would we just like to stay where we're from? Yeah, that would be a much better option.
As an immigrant myself, I definitely think that the American dream still exists. We long for the opportunities that people have here in America, for the job opportunities that people have, the innovations that are available in this free market economy.
I just want to say, I want to know where she immigrated from because I can't pinpoint any kind of accent.
This capitalist country.
So the American dream is in the eye of the beholder. If you're an immigrant or if you live here, it's different. It's going to be different.
I don't like the idea of the American dream, but I am a person who's still going to always believe in hope. If you work hard and you take advantage of opportunities, you can make a difference in your life. I mean, you're an example of it. I'm so amazed by you. I think it's awesome what you're doing at such a young age. I am very, very impressed with you three. My hope for you is that you stay open-minded and that you're always willing to be learners and not just listeners.
Yeah.
So.
All right, great.
Cool. That was the video. Wow, who would have thought a 30-minute video would have turned into a 2.5-hour discussion and review? I would have never thought of that. Crazy, right? Absolutely insane. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. I did. I sure did.